Welcome to Cardboard Pixels episode 3, a podcast that is both shabby and chic, if chic also meant shabby. This time round, we have reviews of video game Dave the Diver, board game Magical Athletes. We wax slightly lyrical about Football Manager, and we talk to Twitch stream legend MrSteJ, among other things. The other things will become apparent in a moment. See you there. The name Nintendo has been floating around my life for the best part of 3 decades now. An undoubted Goliath in the video game universe, it was only natural that a pixel-obsessed kid such as myself would travel from childhood to, I'm not saying middle-aged, to a bit older, with the mighty name of Nintendo, god of big mushrooms and plumbing, I believe, echoing through the air almost daily. And so it should be for a company with such a stardust-sprinkled catalogue of video game giants under its belt. Every kid should have been lost at some point in the Nintendo-verse. The first blossoms on the buds of Nintendo's gaming seeds were part of one of the very first golden ages for gaming. And it was magical and wondrous, and it was exciting, and it was like a whole bunch of Christmases were squashing themselves down the chimney at the same time before exploding in a mess of pixelated magic across the living room floor. Ugh. Except, I was a Sega kid. And as we all know, in the very strict rules of conflict associated with the not at all pointless console wars, Sega kids hate Nintendo kids. And Nintendo kids envied us Sega overlords, obviously. This was just how it had to be. And so, because of being on the front lines of the war, where the majority of the casualties and conflicts occurred on the school playground, I missed the Super Nintendo. And the N64, never owned a Game Boy, and only ever had a Nintendo console as a sort of completionist weirdness that gnawed at my brain and wallet. My GameCube was a neglected, dusty old thing. My Wii was utterly bloody brilliant for about 2 hours before the dust began to settle on that too. The Wii U was even worse. A console so utterly ignored in our home, it might as well have starred Adam Sandler. And then, a few months ago, that gnawing completionist returned and my wallet wept as I became I'm not going to say proud, I'd rather say middle-aged than proud. I became an owner of a Nintendo Switch. As I fired it up and awaited expectantly for a cloud of dust to begin to drift down and settle on yet another Nintendo bit part player, a very unexpected thing happened. I became smitten with this new console. I was suddenly immersed in a new world of Nintendo goodness that took me by complete surprise. I sat with a dopey smile, not unusual, plastered across my face and the tears of the Sega fairies dampening my head as I slowly fell in love. In a scene reminiscent of the Grinch acquiring a heart, I suddenly felt a warmth come over me, and despite encroaching middle age, my trousers were dry. And the truth of it is, the foundations for this awakening are not built upon the modern whistles and bells of the Switch, nice though they are, but instead stand upon the rekindled memories of one of those golden age thingies. The Switch is an undeniably beautifully modern machine. The handheld mode is just jaw-droppingly wonderful and slick. I just wanted to pop in here to highlight, yes, I did say jaw-droppingly, and I meant to. So we won't mention it anymore and carry on. To play Zelda on handheld, on the move, is such a weird experience simply because it feels too good to be playable whilst sat on a train or instead of actually working in the workplace. But this is not what made me fall in love with the Switch. My joy went supernova based on the gathering of people around the screen, fully engaged in the action with some magnificent multiplayer split-screen gaming. This was what I used to love when we would carry Xbox consoles to each other's houses to split-screen Halo over a few TV sets, and nothing the Xbox One or PS4 had delivered managed to reignite that magic feeling quite as much as when my Switch was spilling out Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros. For the utterly deliriously happy clamouring crowd. Although, undeniably again, the handheld mode is the true unique selling point of the machine, for me, Nothing quite captures the picture why I loved video games so much as the family gathered around the screen in beautifully frantic competition as we fight for bragging rights and which poor fool has to empty the dishwasher. The switch for myself, a Sega kid turned predominantly Xbox adult, is the turning point in my relationship with Nintendo. Where I would once brush them off with a disinterested wave of the hand, I now beckon them in. This is a special console. The games catalogue is wide and varied, the control system with the Joy-Cons feels way more than a gimmick. And the fact that I wish I had a 2-hour commute to work just so I could play on the move speaks volumes, not least about my own sanity. This is a console basking in brilliance. It is a modern age, cutting edge system that takes me right back to a video game age I used to adore. Back when we played for fun and when what was taking place around the screen was as important as the action on it, and where the actual game itself is transcended by the sheer joy of playing it with good people. See, I told you I was old. Now, as a former Sega kid, I think I need to take a shower. Is the Switch waterproof, do you know? Board game review incoming, and brace yourself, as this one is a little bit, well, absolutely crazy. Magical Athlete is a strange fish. Actually, in a weird turn of events already on this review, a strange fish is one of the few characters not available to select as a racer in this fantastic, chaotic, and I'm going to say it, genuinely hilarious game. But why is it a strange fish, I hear you ask? Thank you. Well, primarily, it's because Magical Athlete is firmly rooted in a genre of board games long considered obsolete. Largely. Roll and move. If you're new to cardboard-based gaming shenanigans, roll and move means you roll dice and you move a playing piece. This is a genre cruelly mocked in board game circles. It's a genre that often has players moving in circles, and it dates back to sepia-toned days where Nana and Grandad pulled Monopoly from under the sofa in the caravan, having decided we'd had far too much fun watching it rain through the window and needed to really dig in.
No way.
But here we are, back in the world of roll and move, and it's quite simply brilliant. Let's get to why in a minute. Here's some basics. In a 4-player game, which is what I played, however, this can play from 2 to 6, but in the 4-player variant, we start with a draft. Now, I realise here, it sounded like I said giraffe. I didn't. I said draft. No giraffes were involved. Double the amount of cards are played to the table as there are players. So for our motley crew, this meant 8 cards. Players then take turns to select really weird athletes to join their team. Once everyone has 2 racers, we only go and do a second draft, so everyone ends up with 4 magical athletes prepped for some magical races. Now, how do you choose who to pick? And this is the incredibly simple element that elevates Magical Athlete from a low 3 to a chart-topping 10. Oh, actually chart-topping would be 1, wouldn't it? This is the incredible simple element that elevates Magical Athlete from being utterly to being a little bit marvellous. Each racer, you see, has an ability that takes effect when certain numbers are rolled on the dice, or maybe when another athlete passes them on the track, or maybe it just affects the entire game whenever they're about to take their turn. For example, Party Animal is a big fluffy teddy bear with true animal magnetism, meaning that before every roll, all of the racers move 1 space closer to good old Party Animal. If any share the same space as Party Boy, then rock and roll because this bear is getting to move extra spaces. Or there's the giant banana who other players trip on whenever they pass them and subsequently miss their next main turn. Or Suckerfish, who can attach themselves to other races on the same square and then move along with them. And there's Mouth, who literally eats any racers unfortunate enough to be sharing a space on the track with them. How's that for some cannibalistic fun?
Yummy!
There are an incredible 36 racers available, each with their own quirk, each weirder than the last, including Big Baby, whose piece is literally twice the size of all the others. The game itself takes place across 4 races. After each, we flip the double-sided board from Mild Mile to the Wild Wilds, and back again. The wilder side has a few additional on-space actions, such as moving forwards or backwards a few spaces, tripping up, and collecting victory points. And ultimately, it's all about victory points. Isn't life in general? No. Actually, it's about cold hard cash and who you know. But I'm not bitter, just a bit angry. that the only people I know have no cold hard cash. But anyway, back to victory points. The first and second place racers get points at the finish line. A few others might nick a few points along the route, but there are no guarantees. After the ticker tape falls at the final race, points are totted up and a winner declared. It's that simple. A real learning minutes play, well, probably forever. Magical Athlete could be pitched as perfect filler fodder, the simple short game that sits sandwiched on games night between two hefty doorstop slices of heavyweight gaming bread. But it's more than that, because when you finish the first 4 races, the only game you're likely to have any inclination of playing is Magical Athlete again. Deal those cards, people, with a drafter coming. Magical Athlete is about as fun a game as I've ever played. It harks back to an age we've left far behind, but it brings it bang into the modern age by making it an absolute madness. As I mentioned, I played this with 4 players, and then a game with the same 4, and a game with, and everyone had a great time. It was funny, it was tense, it was simple, and it was magnificent. It feels incredible that if we remove the athlete's magic, their ability to turn a good old-fashioned foot race into something chaotic and hilarious, this would be one of the most forgettable games ever produced. But that little addition makes Magical Athlete a gold medal winner in the Board Game Olympics, which should exist. I wonder if I'm the first reviewer to suggest Magical Athlete takes a gold medal. I bet I am. This masterpiece is designed by Richard Garfield and Takashi Ishida. For once, I have actually heard of a designer. I'm pretty sure Richard Garfield is a big ginger cat. No, I really have heard of him though. He's the mind behind Magic the Gathering Monstralicious that I reviewed in episode 1. Go and check that out if you haven't. And The Mighty King of Tokyo, among many others. I've not yet heard of Takashi Ishida, but I have now. And what a glorious introduction. Artwork by Angela Kirkwood is brilliant. It captures a comic book vibe that seems to come from a bygone age of vivid colour and garbage pail kids and the Beatles' Yellow Submarine, and I love every corner of it, and the middle bits too. If I haven't been clear, I say go and buy this game now. It's very reasonable mid-20s price tag and comes with wooden pieces and 6 dice of lovely pastel shades. And if you already own it, stop the podcast and break it out. As athletes go, Magical Athlete is Daley Thompson, Usain Bolt, and that really good pole vaulter. You know the one who went really high? No, not Shaun Ryder. He was in the Happy Mondays. He did get really high, mind you. This episode of Desert Island Gamer was recorded in 2023. Or 24. I honestly can't quite remember. It's all a bit hazy, but it definitely wasn't yesterday.
And today we have a genuine treat in store. His friends call him Stephen. I call him MrSteJ and bow politely when entering any room that he's in. Evening, mate. I was going to say good morning then, but we'll the evening.
I was expecting you to say, and some people call him Stej or Mrs. Tej or something like that.
For a long time, you were MrSteJ to me.
I think that was like that for a lot of people, to be honest. I think I never told anyone anything different. That's what, okay, we'll go with that. But a lot of people were going around calling me MrSteJ.
For me, mate, you are Twitch streaming gold. You are retro goodness, games, films, TV. You're the man who gets the Dogtanian theme forever stuck in my brain. Like, genuinely, hours after the stream, I'm humming that goddamn tune.
Do you know what? Someone said to me, and I kind of agree with this, it's the only song that you could use that is okay to use. If it was any other theme tune, it would just annoy you. Do you know what I mean? Even if it was He-Man or Thundercats, at some point it would just do your head in. But the Dogtanian one, I don't know what it is. It gets in your head and it's okay.
And it's just so drenched in kind of great memories. It's
that's what it is.
One of the main reasons I want to talk to you as well is just you've created what I believe to be the most like big-hearted, wholesome, entertaining, funny, occasional gaming channel on the whole of Twitch. You must be proud of what you've done.
I love Twitch. It's hard to talk about in that sense because I feel like it's still kind of a thing I'm trying to, fathom what's going on. It feels like a bit of a lifesaver for me because I just kind of accidentally fell into it, and so I'm just trying to still work out what's going on. But yeah, I'm just when I started Twitch, I was just kind of not even just trying to kind of work out what to do, but kind of do what I want to do. People will hopefully turn up, and then I just wanted to kind of bump into people who had like-minded, things that we're into, like like cartoons and anything 80s or early 90s.
It's just got a massive heart, and it's based on you, mate, because the one thing that always strikes me is you never feel like you're putting anything on. You never feel like anything's forced. You genuinely have this massive enthusiasm.
Yeah. I think it's I say this a lot, but I think it's that age thing. When you're a kid, you're into stuff, but you start becoming a bit rebellious against it and you want to be an adult. And then when you start being an adult and you start chasing girls and all that stuff, you kind of rebel against all the stuff that you liked. And you went, I don't want to do all that. And then you get to our age, well, my age or whatever, and you start kind of thinking about, oh God, those years were actually the best years of your life. And you start getting like excited about kind of reminiscing, and then you get to this point where you can start, getting hold of all the toys and watching all the cartoons and stuff that you used to have. Even at school, like when you see, back in the day, we're kind of seen for nerds and geeks. We're being like that now, but it's celebrated. You go into Primark and there's t-shirts with nerd or geek on, or turtles or something like that. That wouldn't have been the case years ago, because that would have been like, we've got to grow up from that. But now, like, being an adult kind of man-child or whatever is kind of celebrated.
And so it should be, because that's exactly what we are.
Yeah, I love it. Wouldn't have any other way.
And you're also making some waves on YouTube as well, which is brilliant. I absolutely love your short skits. It's not that I can't stand to watch it for more than 60 seconds. The son and dad, absolutely my favourite thing to watch.
That's another one I accidentally kind of fell into, because it was just like, I just want to make, because I started off YouTube, so it's kind of, it was easier to start off there and then go to Twitch, and then when I wanted to kind of do more things I just got the itch to want to make more videos and have some fun and stuff. So I thought I'll try stuff out.
I've been following you now on Twitch. I'm like about 2 years deep.
Yeah, God, you're there when they're the start, really.
Yeah, fairly. And just to see the way you've kind of evolved and the different things you're bringing in, the different aspects, it's just brilliant to see. Long may it continue. But obviously, today, we're here for some very, very, very important business as an Island Gamer. You'll be getting to pick 3 games that mattered. One that you not necessarily hated, but it's let you down, and that all-important gaming character. But before we dig into that, I just wanted to even just kind of push back through the mist of time for a moment to your earliest childhood memories. Was there a moment, or maybe multiple moments, that the video game got its claws into you?
So the earliest gaming memory I can have is I think of as I think my dad bringing back a Pong kind of clone home from a car boot. It was it wasn't the actual, everyone had their own version of Pong. Yeah. Or whatever, and it was just 2 little paddles plugged into the TV, and I remember being a bit obsessed with that as a kid. Just watching 2 lines. Oh, that, and all isn't that nuts? When we think about that and how excited we were, and then you think about you watch the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer the other day, and you go, look how far we've come. You know what I mean? Isn't that absolutely incredible? That was our Grand Theft Auto back in the day, tennis, with two lines on each side.
You know what? When a machine like that first got brought into the house, and I remember us having the Pong as well, the Pong machine, that was bigger than the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer, because that was mind-blowing.
And it's back then when, I've got a couple of brothers and a sister, and it's back then when that was the only gaming thing. Not everyone in the house had their own gaming, their system or platform, whatever. So we all were jumping on it and I've got to be first on it. I'm going to try and, battle against you. So it wasn't we all had our own things. So, because I don't think back then most people just had one thing in the house, and that was it for me.
And most had one TV as well. So you'd all kind of gather on the same TV set and
argue about it, yeah. That's it. So that was the first kind of memory, but the first kind of console I ever had, which was mine, was the Atari 2600, which was just after that. Oh, yeah. So that's the one I have massive memories from. Because I don't know, it was mine. I was able to kind of sit off with it, and I was able to have my own cartridges and all that stuff. That was the thing for me. So I've got a massive love for that.
Oh, and what a machine. What a machine.
Oh, God, yeah. Because I didn't know about arcades and things like that back then, because I was a kid. So I just thought Dig Dug and Centipede and all those games, I didn't know about them as arcades. I knew them as Atari 2600 games, and that's it. I didn't have any friends with it or anything like that, and there was no magazines, obviously no internet or anything like that. So I just thought these games just existed on this system right in front of me, and that's it.
I was wondering, because obviously there's a little bit of age difference between me and you, and I know that when we were kids in school, we'd go and drop our dinner money into pole position on Kung Fu Master down in town. Wow. Was that the same sort of experience you had?
No. So I'm 42 now, so my first like console. So I was like, it wasn't even the original Woody Atari. It was like the junior ones, which was like mid 80s, I think.
Yeah.
So I would have been about 5 or something like 6 when I got that. So I wasn't old enough to go to the arcades, but I didn't really know about them until a little bit later, and that was only when I went to like a Butland holiday camp in in like Bethely, and then they had like a little arcade there, and I remember going in there for the first time and being like, oh my god, like what the hell? There's like got big giant games all around me, and being obsessed, and they didn't have any money to play on them. I was like floating around, like I always use this analogy, but it always goes well. It goes well with the and floating around like a wolf in a cartoon, going after a pie on a window shelf. So every machine, because that's what it was. It was just like absolutely magical. But I never had the money for arcades, so I literally just ended up watching other people play.
I used to starve every lunchtime because it had all gone in for like 10 seconds of Kung Fu Master.
Oh my god! But we did have a video shop around the corner from ours, which had WrestleFest in. I remember being obsessed with that, just watching people play that, and the size of the wrestlers on the screen. And you're watching now; they're not as big. But when you're a kid looking up, that looked like the most incredible thing. And for a wrestling fan at that age as well, it was just all your favourites on the screen.
I've got to admit, I'm kind of always chasing the new thing. But you've stayed in the retro place, playing the old games still. And what is it about the retro games that's kept you there?
It's weird because I think about when I stopped kind of getting the new stuff, and I think it's around after the Super Nintendo, because I think my brother and that started getting the N64 and GameCube, so I just played it through them. So I didn't own those systems, I just played it for my brothers. So I felt like that was the last bit of ownership. So I kind of covered that era, like the more than anything. I mean, like the NES and the SNES and the Master System, Mega Drive, that kind of 8 and 16-bit era for me is like, that's my era. I felt like that was when I had those systems. So anything else, I kind of always dipped in and out. And I got into PlayStation quite a bit later on, but I was always like, I played those games through other people, so I never felt like I had any ownership over them. Well, until I started working for Sony years later, so I felt like I had to own a PlayStation and all that then. So that's when I started picking up gaming again. But my heart has always been that, like, you know, because again, I was talking about like all the things I loved about the 80s and 90s, about the cartoons and everything, but it also goes into the times and those memories of playing video games. I have good memories of later stuff, but it's more about when I was a kid, really, or a teenager.
Yeah. That makes total sense. And respect to you, because the games was so much harder. It's so painfully brutal and unforgiving. There's a massive audience for it as well, obviously. Now, talking of audiences, obviously your Twitch channel is growing. We need to dive in. It's now basically the day job. I'm convinced you're well on your way to becoming somewhat of a celebrity, and it's just me getting in early before you've got an agent.
Oh, imagine.
But going right back to like your channel's inception, and I'm curious, did you go in with a plan, or were you going in with like just curiosity about the whole streaming platform and the streaming sort of world?
So it was weird because I started off, as I said earlier, I started off on YouTube as a musician. And every Tuesday I would go live on YouTube and talk to other musicians about like their plan as independent musicians, and you know, because a lot of them were kind of worried, what do we do with our music, blah blah blah. And I was like, well, I was an independent musician, this is what I'm doing, I'm just going to go out there and talk about what I'm doing, and that lasted on to a few people. And so I had no plan of like, oh, I'm going to be a retro streamer on Twitch at all. That never came. I just thought, well, I'm going to do this on YouTube. So during the pandemic, I was looking away other ways like musicians could earn money. And I saw Twitch. I saw musicians were going over to Twitch because you obviously couldn't gig. I don't know if I do all the things that us musicians could do. So I thought, well, people going over to Twitch, it seems like, and, you know, doing the cover streams or playing gigs and all that. So I thought, well, I'll go over and have a go, and then I can talk to the musicians and say, I tried this out and see what it's like. Yeah. And I went over there, and maybe like 2 people of the people who were following me went over. And then next stream, because I was just doing it in ambient guitar streams, because that's the kind of stuff I used to do. Then the next stream, nobody turned up. And I was just like, oh, all right, okay. And again, and the next stream, maybe 1 person turned up, and no one was in. So I thought, well, you know what? I might just kind of split this up a little bit, because I was a gamer as well. I had so many systems. And I was like, well, why don't just kind of, on the odd day, play a game? And that, like, kind of took off a little bit quicker, and I realized, oh, it's a lot harder to be a music. I think it's also one of the things I didn't like when I was doing music. I was doing the same kind of music every day, and I wasn't treating it with like respect in a way. I always say this: I wasn't treating it with the respect. Like, you know, if your favorite band did a gig every day, you probably wouldn't go and see them, and that's what the mentality I started thinking about. So I started thinking, well, if I just start playing a game every now and again to split it up, and so it's not just doing music every day, I'll see how that goes. And that got a bit more traction, and also I just ended up enjoying that way more than I was just playing music.
Yeah.
So I just stuck to that and just went, oh, I'm going to play a game now and again, and kind of didn't look back.
I love just to see how far it's coming, and it's not even in a long space of time. In this like little window, really, suddenly this whole thing is like explode. Well, on the way to exploding, and it's constantly gathering pace, and it's just, yeah, I love to see it. It must be kind of night and day now then to where you were when you started, and is there kind of a typical MrSteJ week now?
Well, do you know what? It's like getting up every morning at 9 a.m. is a good routine for me. It gets me. I really find it hard to have like with attention. I have attention issues, so that getting up at 9 a.m. I have to get up earlier than that, obviously, for the stream. But getting up and knowing of a stream and hit the go live button before then, that gives me that kind of routine. So that's kind of been good for the last 3 years to do that. And in terms of like how it compares to when I first started, it's weirdly like the same in a way, because I think the only thing that's changed is generations of different like people and the phases and stuff that have happened, where I was playing certain games one time and now I've kind of gone right into retro. So that happens, and since I kind of turned the viewer number off like years ago, it's kind of like I never know how many people are in the stream, so there could be like,
Okay.
It's like one thing I always say to anyone, just turn it off, because it can affect your mood. If it's high or low, it'll affect your mood in some way,
From outside looking in, it looks like there's a massive amount of planning and preparation going into your streams. Is that the case, or are you absolutely winging it every day?
You know what? I'd love to be all like. I'd love to be all humble and go, oh, you know what, it's just turn up or whatever, and it just happens. But no, I kind of wish it was like that. I really do, but it does take work. Yeah, it's like I was like something I was saying in the stream today. I do this thing where I just show screenshots, and people have to get to the movie, and it's really fun. I love doing it. Even a little bit of that takes up half an hour every day. Just looking for screenshots or whatever, but those half an hours add up for every little task you've got. And I was saying today, it's great though, because you never want to be in a position where you haven't got something to do or an idea you want to try and kind of fulfill, because you always want to be trying to chase something. So I'm kind of glad I'm in that situation where I'm not being complacent about it. I'm just kind of turning up and going, pressing record and go, because I think that would be the wrong way to do it in my books anyway. I think you've always should be kind of evolving.
Yeah. And how often does all that planning and preparation just get completely derailed when chat goes off on some wild and then for the next hour we're talking about some mad random?
But I think that's what I like. So I don't mind. I always try and have, like, I have a notebook right in front of me now for like the things we're talking about now, for the elements later. But I always use that as well before a stream to say, oh, is there any topics that I want to talk about or whatever, because my memory's crap. So if there's anything that can't, like, we haven't got anything to talk about, I've got something that I can kind of mention. And that's the way of doing it, yeah. But the derailing thing, that's what I'm there for. I love all that. I don't want the stream to be the same every day. I don't know if I'd be interested as much. I want it to kind of have like some different flavour to it every day. So we can go,
no. You're definitely achieving that every day. Like, what are the biggest challenges you think you're facing at this point in time?
Like, I'm always trying to think about what I can do with it, but it's one of those things, like, I'd love to get to Twitch partner. So that's a thing I'd like to do, like, next year. So that's a big goal for me. And I mean, you have to get a certain number of people watching and all that, and the average views over like a certain amount of streams and all that. And that's tough for me because I don't like looking at stats, but I've got to force myself to start looking at stats to go, okay, did I do it this time, and what can I achieve? And it's one of those things where I don't really know what to do with that info, because I don't really look at those numbers. So for me, it's just my advice to myself is just try and make fun streams, and build on that and come up with more fun ideas.
Quick side note, a few months after this podcast dropped, MrSteJ did indeed make Twitch partner.
Is it difficult to keep the fun side of it for yourself? Because obviously I've heard people, like, you start doing something you love, you sometimes feel like you've got to punch the clock before you start. And do you ever have that kind of up and down with it?
I think every streamer has up and down, and that's where that, you probably hear the term burnout, which is probably in every industry, isn't it? Every job. And I think it hits a lot of streamers more because we don't have like a a dead-on schedule, or we have a schedule that can kind of go way more than like people with a 9 to 5 can do, because you can do like 12-hour streams, just a drop of a hat. And I think if most streamers do that, they're gonna maybe hit some burnout. Like I've definitely hit burnout now and again when I go, okay, I'm gonna have to take a couple of days off. And I've learned a little bit more about that lately when I go, okay, I need to take the foot off the gas a little bit. But it's all comes from a place because I love it and I thrive on it. I love the kind of engagement and the chatting with people, and it makes me feel incredibly warm inside when people can relate and we all chat about the things we love.
And I think you've become an important part of a lot of people's day. You'll be doing a lot of good for their mental health and things like this, and staying on top of things, just tuning in and having that familiarity and the fact that you can have a back and forth as well. Like you can have that conversation in chat with the people viewing. It's just like, I think you do probably more good than you've been realised, to be fair.
That's really kind. Do you know what? It's hard. It's hard to even think about. I don't even think about that, but it's like so kind of you to say so. Like that's really nice.
What have been the biggest moments where you've had to pinch yourself on this Twitch journey?
I suppose that I'm able to sometimes be able to get away with not having like a proper job. Sometimes I used to work. I only recently left the web company I was with, so I'm kind of coasting along a little bit because you don't get that much money from Twitch. I'll be honest. Some days I feel like I'm very, very lucky to be in the circumstance I'm in at the moment. I mean, I don't know how long it's going to be like that, but at the moment I'm very lucky. But yeah, I suppose that's the moment. I'm pretty much like that each and every day, though. So it's kind of a pinch yourself moment.
Of everything you've done, what's the biggest takeaway from Twitch streaming? The thing that's given you the most joy so far?
Community. I mean, it's such a cliched thing, but it's. I started with knowing nobody and feeling a bit lonely, especially when I came over, and a lot of the musicians didn't kind of come over, and that made sense because they're not there for me to watch music. They were there for me to give them value about how to get the music out and all that. And so when I started with this kind of just streaming, I didn't expect anyone to turn up. I just kind of wanted to try it out, kind of thing. So the fact that now people turn up and I know people by name, like I knew you, it's insane to me that like I can know that many people on the internet. That's ridiculous.
Oh, you've had your own Field of Dreams moment.
A little bit, yeah.
I appreciate you taking the time to dig into all that. And now let's move on to the bit no one really be bothered about listening to anymore. But
this bit's tough, to be honest. To sit there, you got like things to okay, like when you say 3 games, it's like, oh my god, what can you whittle this down to?
That's the challenge in front of you. The boat's gone down. You've swam to the desert island, which is surprisingly well equipped for video games. And luckily, you've got 3 games that have meant something to you. And where are we beginning? No pressure.
So I was saying before, this is really tough because I just feel like I'm betraying like every other game I've ever played. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, what about me? What about me? You know? So I'm going to start off with a Atari 2600 game, Centipede, because that was the one that my dad used to play and be really good at it. And it's pretty much the only game he ever played. Maybe he played Duck Hunt on the NES. But that's it. He was like, I'm really good at this. I'm going to beat you. And I've got that fond memory of like me and my dad having something in common because like he was massive in football. I've never been into football or anything like that. But that was a thing. I thought, well, that me and my dad have got that in common. He loves this game, and he was actually the better than anyone in the house of it. Although my brothers were like toddlers at that point. But I've got a fond memories of him like beating my score, which I thought was really proud of, and him beating it again. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. Like, he's brilliant, you know. So yes, Centipede for me is always going to be a. I mean, I've told him about it since. He doesn't remember. He just looks at me, glazed expression. Going, I don't know what that is. And I've made up this whole romantic thing, yeah, you know. But yeah, Centipede. That's like I love that game. Then it was the one I was obsessed with on the Atari, and I kind of preferred the arcade one because I've tried the arcade one and I'm just absolutely rubbish at it. Of
all the reasons that have ever been given, I mean, that there's been none better because. It's not about the game, it's about the moment, and that's a special moment. That's a great choice.
So all the others are going to be so obvious now, like, because you honestly be like, oh really? These are all got like a particular theme. So the next one's Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo.
You're joking?
You're just going to get this is where everyone shuts off now. I'm going, all right, he's just going to name Mario games.
Oh, he's talking about Super Mario again.
Oh, God. So Super Mario World, I remember getting this. I was a big, I would say, so the NES before the SNES was my favourite console of all time. But for some reason, when I got the SNES with Super Mario World, that was like the best Christmas. Like, and I remember my mum telling me, like, you only get one game with it, and I can't afford to get you another game. I was like, yeah, it's great, it's fine. But I remember like completing it a day. I was so obsessed with it. But I just remember like just being all over it for hours and hours and hours, and it was like properly my console, and it felt new, brand new, and it was like I had mates I could swap games with at that point. So when I had the NES, I didn't know that many people with a Nintendo, the odd person I could borrow games off. But with the SNES, it felt like everyone I knew had one, so I had access to it. But Super Mario World was like, for me, it's a top 10. It's a 10 out of 10 game. It's just nothing beats it. It's the best 2D art game. It's just the best platformer. Everything about it is just absolutely perfect. It's one of those games, and I liken it to like Super Mario Wonder, the new one. It's just in certain ways just as good, because you can get through Super Mario World really easily, complete it, and have a normal great time. But you can dig into it to find all the other secrets. So it's almost got like an A and B game to it. Like just a normal playthrough, and then the rest of it to get all the 96 exits. It's absolutely classic, and I think it's just never been beat. I know it's completely like a game that everyone would put down on lists, but there's a reason for that.
I hate it, to be honest with you.
After all that.
No, you can't beat. There's something about a console Christmas. If you're a kid, even actually if you're an adult as well, and you get a console at Christmas, whatever games are there as well. I mean, Super Mario obviously is in a league of its own anyway. But any game you get with that console at Christmas time is going to kind of find its way into your heart somewhere.
Now, don't make it wrong. If I get a PlayStation 5 at Christmas, I'll be absolutely made up or whatever. But I feel with those consoles nowadays, I don't think I do play it enough. You know what I mean? And
it's so like today's consoles are so versatile. You end up watching YouTube on them or Netflix or something.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's it. My Xbox, I've literally played Halo on it once, and now it's a DVD player. You know.
Exactly. A great choice. And some might say a predictable choice, but I'm going to say it's a great choice anyway.
Oh, great.
So, mate, you're flying through them. Game number 3.
The third one, I actually wrote 3 games here, so I'm going to try and pick one on the fly. So I'm like, I found it so hard to do this.
Actually, you know what? I'll tell you what. Before we do your third game, give me some of the nearly runs, the ones that were close.
Okay, right. So, I was going to say A Link to the Past, which is a Zelda game.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful.
Because, I mean, anyone who listens to my stream will hear the story over and over and over again. I said that it was the first game I remember as a kid, that I remember staying up past 12 o'clock, which is a memory that no one will have, because it's just such a weird thing to say. But I remember going past 12 o'clock and being a little bit like, this is weird. Like, this is where all the ghosts come out, you know, that kind of thought process.
I love that, mate. I love that.
It's so weird to remember that. And I was like, I'm going to be absolutely wrecked tomorrow for school or whatever. But and also I remember hiding my controller from my SNES, so my brother couldn't play because I was worried he was going to wipe the game, you know, that kind of thing. But I loved it. It was a proper RPG and all that. And so I don't want to go into it too much because we won't go to the main one. But yeah, Link to the Past was definitely very close.
Yeah, I've got similar memories of that one. Such a good game.
So good. And the other one, before I got to the main one, was Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
That used to be, for a long time, probably my favourite game. It's the one I'd always refer to, because I remember that got me back into gaming. When I was, I think it was when I go back as a Sony, I thought, I need to play some games here. And I think at the time, I maybe get mixed up with the time, I remember going through my mate's games, and he had a copy of it, so it wasn't even the real bloody version of it.
And we could all chip our PlayStation.
Everyone was doing that, yeah, and he just had this stack, and I was like, okay, well, this is good. And I didn't even know anything about the game. And I went, Metal Gear Solid, let's try that. And I was immediately hooked. It was incredible. The storytelling, as nuts as it was, and the bosses and just the dialogue, everything about that game was just so cool. You just felt cool going around all those corners and all that, with all this dialogue going off and the music and being able to say hi behind the cameras.
It was one of them games that it gave you that like knot in your stomach playing.
Oh, definitely. And it had a really good twist at the end, as I remember, and I just thought it was great. And I loved all the Metal Gear Solid series. I love them so much, even 5, even though it's unfinished. I loved it. But yeah, that was the other one.
And they're the two that didn't make the list. So game now.
So Fortnite, it was.
I would have loved it if it had been Fortnite.
I played it once. I keep threatening to go back and play it. I should do it. It's Shadowrun. I don't know if you know that one.
Yeah.
On the Super Nintendo. There's 2 versions. The one on the Super NES and the one on the Mega Drive. and they're very different games. But this Shadow on the Stairs is literally my favorite game of all time. And I just remember it's like a cyberpunk RPG, and it had an incredible soundtrack. And I think it was like the first time as a kid where I kind of thought the music of this game is amazing. Where everything else of the game, I thought, it just came part and parcel, and just didn't even think about it. But I remember that the first time, thinking, God, the music in this game is so good. Yeah. And really dark, and I loved the story because it was like all sci-fi. And because I used to like live kind of like with two other brothers in the same room, it was total escapism, like putting headphones in the TV and just kind of playing it for hours and hours, and I was literally in that world. And there's nothing like it, when I was young, I used to read a lot of books when we were brothers, were like properly into football and all that stuff. So I always felt a little bit different, a little bit isolated from them. So with stuff like that, anything I could do to kind of escape from all of that was great. So Shadowrun, I always think about that. That's like a different world I used to jump into.
Oh yeah, great choice, and so immersive. Even at the time it came out, like still such an immersive game, and probably stands the test of time, no doubt.
It's so expensive. So I'd love to get a copy of it, but it's like every time I look at it, it goes up 20 quid. So I'm trying to not look at it. I'm not trying to not look at it anymore because it keeps going up. I think I've got some weird power over it, so I'm not doing
it. 3 brilliant choices, mate. I can't argue with that. I knew they'd all be obviously retro flavoured. But are you going to be burning a retro game? Because it's going to get chilly on the desert island, and we're going to have to burn something for heat. And it's going to have to be one of the games that's forever let you down.
Do you know what? I think this was the hardest question, because I kind of like, even if it's rubbish, I kind of find something about it I like. So it's a really tough one, because everything I was coming up with is like, well, originally I was going to say Yoshi's Island, because that kind of let me down, because it was like, it wasn't like Mario World, but it's still a good game. So I thought of like what's really let me down, and every time I play, even now, I go back on it and play it. It's Mario Kart 8. Weirdly enough.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah, but you love it.
Love that game, mate. Yeah, absolutely love.
Here's the reason, though. I'm rubbish at it, and I don't know why. Because I was so good at the original Mario Kart and Mario Kart 64 and Double Dash on the GameCube. And for some reason, I just can't play this one. I don't know if they changed the engine of it, like the way it's made, but it just doesn't feel like the same game. And I don't know why. And it's more a case I'd burn it because I rage every time I play it, and I don't understand. Like the other day, I was playing on someone's stream, and for the first time in ages, it was coming like second, about to come first, and someone just hit me with something behind, and then suddenly it was last, and I literally threw my controller down. I was like, I'm not playing this anymore. All the others don't have this. They don't. Every time you get hit in the other ones, it always feels like you should come back. It doesn't feel like you can do that in this game.
I don't know if I should put this out there, mate, but we're both getting older. We're both not young.
There's totally an element of that.
I was in a young man's game.
I can go back and play this SNES one, and it's just as good.
No, I get absolutely. If I play it, I get whooped on it every time. If they play with the kids, they absolutely destroy me.
I'm contemplating watching a YouTube video like of a 12-year-old telling me how to play it. Like that's what I'm gonna do, because like this is where you do this shortcut and you do that. That's what I'm gonna watch, because I want to get better at it. But that said, I want to burn it as well.
I understand where you're coming from. I mean, I'm forever. You've got the better engine. You've got the better wheels.
Yeah. Oh my god, does that matter? And apparently, slipstreams in this. I don't think it's ever been in any of the Mario Karts. And then there's all these shortcuts I don't even know how to do. And I need to apply myself and get better at it. But every time I try and just play it and go, right, today I'm going to get better at it, I just start raging and throw the controller down. So it's no best interest if I just burn it for fuel.
I love it. Mario Kart 8 is going on the fire. Well deserved, even though it's a fantastic game. And obviously, it can get lonely on the desert island. So you need one gaming character companion.
Right, this is the most obvious answer, and you can probably guess it. Going for what I've said earlier. Any ideas? It's so obvious. Like we've already mentioned. Go on, what is it? The name.
Is it someone practical?
No, it's of a main. It's a game for you. I'm turning around to you. Name a character from Nintendo.
What, Mario?
It's Mario, yeah.
You're having Mario.
Like, why are we having Mario on there? It's the most obvious thing, right? This was the question that I was going around all the world with. Like, I don't know, who should I have? And everyone I came up with, well, Pac-Man, he'll eat everything up. What the hell? Everyone just had like some pros and cons, but mainly cons. Like most of them I couldn't even talk to. Like Solid Snake, you'd never find him. He'd be like sitting there in a sand cardboard box or something. So what's the point? And he wouldn't talk to you. So, but I sat there and went, wait a minute. The obvious answer is right in front of you, and it's Mario. Because if you're on a desert island, what's best? Like, because Mario is basically the Barbie of the video game industry, because he's been a plumber, a doctor, football coach, a painter, an actor, a janitor, a builder, composer. He's been everything. So you're going to get he's going to help you. He's like Tom Cruise. He can do everything. So that's why I'd have him on the island, because he's going to be incredible for you.
If only Tom Cruise had played Mario as well.
Oh, God, that would be good. I don't know if he'd do anything like that, but I wish he would.
You know what? You convinced me. Most people go for, like, Lara Croft with her survival skills. And
oh, yeah. That was one element.
Mario, I mean, at the point you arrive, there is no plumbing on that island. Well, we're going to rectify that problem straight away.
Well, you could do that. He could sort that out for you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's a wise choice. It's a wise choice.
I think so.
Another retro choice as well.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe not modern Mario with he's got like his top off and stuff. I don't know about that one, but the classic Mario, you know.
Oh, now I can't get an image of Mario with his top on.
Nintendo put that out. Mario's got nipples. It's weird. Don't want to think of him like that, but he did that.
Oh my God! Amazing! Centipede, Mario, Shadowrun. You've burnt Mario Kart. And you've got Mario. There's a lot of Mario in this.
No, it's terrible. I can tell I'm a Nintendo guy. I'm obsessed with Sega as well, but for some reason I've just got Nintendo to the mind at the moment.
Yeah, I was a Sega kid. Yeah, my brother was Nintendo. I had the Sega Mega Drive.
See, it was the opposite for us. My brother had the Sega and I had the Nintendo, but I got the best of both worlds. There's a load of Sega I loved. Never like Sonic, but I loved pretty much everything else. Like massively into Golden Axe and Streets of Rage and even Alex Kidd and all that stuff. I loved all that, but never got into Sonic.
That's the way to be, because I was an idiot who, if it was on Nintendo, I didn't want to know, even though
completely just game away. Yeah.
And I'd be arguing on the playgrounds with all the Nintendo kids, and it was a silly time.
Yeah.
Well, mate, that basically brings us to a close. I've got to thank you 1,000 times because you've been fantastic, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Where, like I said, I'm not just tapping into chat and waiting for it to scroll down. Say good morning, and then on with work. But no, it's been absolute pleasure talking to you, mate. I'm gonna, if anyone isn't already aware of MrSteJ, it's all one word. It looks like MrSteJ.
No one knows.
Search him out on Twitch, search him out on YouTube, because you'll be in for a massive treat. My favourite streamer and favourite creator of YouTube shorts as well, mate. Absolutely magic.
You're being too kind, mate. You'll have to edit all this out and just make it look like you're just shouting at me or something.
Apart from that, mate, and I should have mentioned your amazing music as well, because multi-talented. But we'll do that some other time, because for now, thank you and cheers, Steve, and we'll talk again.
Oh, thanks so much, mate. I'll talk to you in the future.
No worries. Take care, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
When I was 14, I was kicked out of a handful of lessons in secondary school. As a football mad teen with big dreams and a left foot so magical Harry Potter could wield it, it was par for the course that my academic enthusiasm was hardly Premier League. Although this was the 80s, so old First Division. Same competition though, despite what Man United fans might tell you. Anyway, I was set down in a room with my mate and we were to spend the couple of hours catching up on lessons that had left us in their wake. And so it was that the pair of us spent 2 hours every couple of days playing Football Manager on a pair of old BBC computers, the original Brian Toms version no less. And it was magical. We'd start our seasons at the same time and see who would fare best. Looking back, when the football dream died and my CV highlight was that in 1988 I took Torquay United to an FA Cup final when I should have been in double history, it might not have been the wisest choice. Even though, for the good folk of Torquay, history was indeed made on that fateful day. Despite then leaving school with D, which is a nice transition on an acoustic guitar but not great in the job market, my love affair with football management games was born. And thankfully, due to those stellar grades, I had loads of time to play. These games are time sinks at the level of World of Warcraft. It never ceases to amaze me that I can be midway through my pre-season campaign and 3 hours have rolled by in the world around me. They are cited in divorce papers. They have incredible, almost mythical stories attached to them, such as the guy who dressed in a suit for cup finals, or the one who got a touchline ban in the game, so pressed kickoff and stood outside the room until full time, or the legend who set off a flare in the bedroom after a Champions League win. And it's a game that brings out the quirks in all of us. I know I'm prone to taking a moment to, run pretend interviews in my head about how the season's going, transfer plans, and what I make of the imminent threat of being sacked. It's escapism at its finest. If you've a taste for the beautiful game, chances are you're an armchair manager anyway. So why not dress up for finals and run mock interviews as you drift off to sleep? Football Manager is also a game where bang average real-life players have acquired cult status. Cherno, Samba and Freddie Adu are top tier in the cult stakes. In the real world, both amounted to... Let's check Google. Wait, Freddie Adu is in his 30s. How is he not like 65? I swear I was a kid when I used to sign him. Time is weird, man. Anyway, both these absolute superstars of FM games didn't set the world alight in real world terms. Taribo West did a little better, but he wasn't the player FM had me believe. I've played a lot of games, but none have come close to swallowing as many joyful hours as Footy Manager. From Brian Toms to Championship Manager 0102 to the latest slight abomination that is FM26. I mean, Sports Interactive took flack, but dropping the ball once in decades is not bad going. I've been in the digital dugout since I was a teenager. I started when the transfer market offered you one player per week available to sign, tactics were minimal, and we played in the old First Division. To a game that became so deep I once fell in and got lost for around 6 months. It was lovely. Apart from training, always set training to be taken care of by the staff. Right, I best shoot off now anyway. I have an important interview to attend. Apparently the board are giving me a vote of confidence. I knew studying real history would pay off one day. Let's do something I haven't previously done. Let's review a flipping video game.
Oh my god!
And not just any video game. Let's review a video game whose title is so literal it might as well be called Dave the Diver. Because it is. And in it, Dave is a diver, among other things. Dave the Diver from Mint Rocket places us into the slightly snug wetsuit-clad life of Dave, a diver tasked with uncovering the secrets of the mysterious blue hole, a slightly paranormal, cryptid-infused place, sort of like Stranger Things with oxygen tanks. But that's not all. Alongside diving to untold fathoms, no idea what a fathom is, but I did hear it once on a Captain Nemo movie, or was it The Land That Time Forgot? Wherever the fathoms I heard it, fathoms is how deep our intrepid hero was diving, alongside trying to stop the local sushi bar, Bancho Sushi, run by Bancho, hence Bancho Sushi. And that's not all either, because as the game progresses, Dave also has to try a hand at a bit of farming for vital sushi-flavoured ingredients, seeking and catching ever more dangerous fish for ever more flamboyant guests, some even tinged with celebrity status, and tackling a whole world of side quests. And that's before we even mention the weirdness lurking deep under Dave's boat. Shh, they'll hear us. Deep beneath the surface is a mystery waiting to be solved, and it feels like something that, in this review, should remain mysterious. Spoilers are not us, but rest assured, as undersea adventures go, it's a seriously salted cracker. Nuts and bolts time. The gameplay reminds me of the old Spectrum game Scuba Dive. And what is it about diving games now, literal titles? But Scuba Dive had a similar diving vibe. You have a largely 2D view of the ocean and its landscape, and control your diver in a full range of movement through 360 degrees. Dave starts the game with pretty basic equipment, a weak harpoon and secondary weapon with which to carry out cold-blooded fishy murder. Well, sushi bar clientele have to eat something. And a fairly weak suit and oxygen tank that doesn't fully plumb the depths of the sea. But once in the arms of the ocean, there are many secrets and treasures to be found. Booty, if you will. Treasure, if you won't. These come in the forms of weapons upgrades, weapon replacements, ingredients such as soy sauce or salt, crafting materials, and the all-important oxygen tanks. Just keep breathing, just keep breathing. There are also spots where Dave can call for an extraction and take all that lovely loot back to the boat. Dave dives by day, but by night he runs food and drink at Bancho Sushi. Here, Dave's job is to select the dishes Chef Bancho will prepare, then run them to waiting customers, depending on the customer need. Dave will also pour drinks, grate wasabi, I think that was wasabi, and clean away empties. And it's super cool, hugely enjoyable. As the game progresses, Dave moves from being waiter to hiring staff, levelling up meals, and changing the decor of the gaff. It's kind of full on, really. Poor guy's been diving all day too. Them's the basics. All of this is woven into a beautiful narrative tapestry that hooks stronger than Davy Boy's harpoon. There are a whole cast of weird and wonderful characters, all needing something from our hero, all interesting too. No catch and deliver nonsense here. Well, apart from the main diving meat of the whole game, which is entirely catch and deliver. But that's glorious anyway. We have scientists with odd requests, conservationists with planet saving on their mind, party animals in fast boats, dodgy underworld organisations out for evil doings, and the big mystery hiding under the waves. It's a lot, and every step is just wonderful. Like, you think you've seen everything this game can offer, then along comes another head case in a boat with an outlandish idea. It's completely great. Looks-wise, face value, Dave the Diver looks kind of cool, kind of retro, kind of underwhelming, but once inside, it's a game of serious clout, serious clout. I will avoid fish-related puns. Trying to think of them anyway, it gives me a haddock. Oh God, here I go again. The game is big too. Like, once you've upgraded the old oxygen tank and diving suit, that is a seriously deep ocean. And the fish too get increasingly challenging, but never to the point of frustration because although there is a ton of stuff going on in Dave's world, ultimately, this is a very cozy game. The sushi bar by night, diving in the rain, exploring the depths, sometimes via torchlight, and the brilliantly written dialogue, genuinely funny, and the characters that inhabit this lovely part of the world. It's like, no matter how tough the going gets, it still feels like I'm in my slippers, sitting under fairy lights as rain rattles the window and the fire in the hearth crackles orange. Dave the Diver is a triumph. The depth of adventure and intrigue rivals the depth of the deep blue sea itself. And the cool thing here is that were you to split the sushi bar and the diving into two separate games, you'd still have two absolute winners on your hands. One a resource management sim and the other a narrative adventure. Downsides, what are they? Well, controlling the titular character can at times be tricky, especially when trying to shoot the harpoon at the fish or avoid a charging shark. Sometimes there might be too much going on, so many quests and side quests, especially as the game unfolds. Keeping on track can be a mission all of its own, and God forbid you step away from the game for a few weeks and then decide to dive back in. That's going to be a journey into the memory banks. But aside from those minor gripes, Dave the Diver is a pearl of a game, a big pearl. It finds a lovely balance where everything you do feels weighted, just right. Sure, the mystery just started unfolding and wow, is it a good one? But Bancho Sushi is opening and I'm needed there. Every aspect, character and narrative move feels well considered and planned. Even side quests feel meaty, like the salmon or tuna of side quests. It's a game that feels like it was born from love. The developers really spent the time making sure this was just right, and it really shines through. Dave the Diver is available on PC and console. I also know it plays beautifully on handheld systems, and I strongly urge you to cast your net and catch this one. It's a keeper. Thank you for listening to episode 3 of Cardboard Pixels. As always, the support, the ears, both of them, are hugely, hugely appreciated. Hopefully, you'll be back for episode 4. See you then.